Warning, this podcast is intended for adult audiences only. We discuss sex and sexual relationships in a frank and open manner. We are not marriage and family therapist or sex therapist, and the content provided is for informational and entertainment purposes only. If you are under the age of 18 or do not wish to hear explicit discussions about sex and sexual relationships or adult language, then you shouldn't listen any further. But if you are, well, grab your seat, grab a drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of The Accidental Swingers. Well, hey, everybody, welcome.
Hey, everybody, welcome.
Welcome to the Accidental Swingers podcast. I don't even know what episode this is. A special episode. A special on-location episode. We don't know.
54.
That's what you're going to get. By the time we get this out, it'll be episode 54.
Let's say 55. Let's be proactive.
Okay.
And put it out there to the universe that we're going to get another one out before this.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So there we go. Who knows? But yeah, so here we are. But this is different. We're different, besides the fact that there's four of us sitting here in studio lighting. If it were an outdoor studio, where are we, babe?
We are at Hedonism 2 in the Grill in Jamaica.
Whoop, whoop. Yes,
this
we are.
Wednesday, the 2nd or 3rd of June. We've been here since Saturday.
Yes. It's more like the 4th or 5th.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah.
So that's a beautiful thing. That
Yes.
I have no idea
Yes,
what day it is.
Yes. So we're at Hedo.
Yay.
Yes. For all of us except Phoenix, this is our very first trip here.
Mm-hmm.
Your second.
Yep.
And so we are actually here as a trip with Kinky Caribbean, the group that's Kinky Caribbean. And we actually presented. We're presenters for, or Swinky Life is presenting for Kinky Caribbean. So that's how we got invited to come down to Hedo for our very first trip. And we decided, yes, we should do that.
Yes.
And so here we are.
And I'm going to say we should do it much more often because this place is fucking awesome.
Oh, it's been an amazing trip.
Yeah.
We're having a great time.
It has been amazing. And so before we get into our amazing trip, we always do our little bit of housekeeping stuff that we talk about what's going on with us, where we're going to be next, what's happening. This podcast probably won't come out before we get to Naughty in New Orleans, but Naughty in New Orleans is 2 weeks away when we're recording this, because why not go to Hedo 2 weeks before Naughty in New Orleans? Good God, really?
Yeah.
Is it really only 2 weeks, or is it 3?
I think by the time we get home, we'll be leaving.
Yeah.
It's 2 weeks before we leave.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it's 2 weeks. Yeah, I think 14 days.
I think we have 1 weekend.
No, we do have 2 weeks. Oh no, but we leave on. Yeah,
we're leaving on Sunday.
Whatever. It's a busy month.
Whatever. It's a busy month.
It's a busy month.
Yeah, it is.
So, yes. So that will have gone by the time we actually get this out. But since we're here at Hedo, why don't we talk about the incredibly exciting news that we have that circles around Hedo?
So, as mentioned, this is our first trip to Hedo, and our second trip to Hedo is going to be December 14th through 21st, 2024.
Yes, it is.
Because we are going to be hosting
Swinkcation.
Swinkcation.
Swinkcation 2024. Does that sound at all familiar? Swinkcation. So it is going to be an amazing trip for swingers and kinksters. So all you swinksters out there, if you want to come and join us at Hedo, we're going to be here December 14th through 21st. I'm personally looking at it as a way, this is how I want you to think about it. Christmas holidays coming up. We can't go to Hedo right before Christmas. What a better Christmas present for yourselves than to come and spend an amazing week at Hedo with us and a whole bunch of other swinksters.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to get you through those next 2 weeks of your holiday. You have family, kids, all that stuff, New Year's, all those things to think about. No, come and give yourself your Christmas present first and join us at Hedo for a week.
I love it.
I love it too.
Awesome. Idea.
We're so excited. We are really, really excited. We have more information on our website and probably in the link below if you're watching this on YouTube. We are recording this for YouTube as well. So if you're listening to the audio and you want to see what we look like.
Yeah, hot and
Hot
sweaty.
and sweaty, yeah.
I'm sweating. That's it.
It is about 10:30 at night
Oh God.
right now.
Yes.
Yeah, it's about 10:30 and it's a little toasty.
A little
And
humid,
like a lot like Florida. We're used to it, but yeah, we're sitting outside and recording this podcast. We wanted to get it done on site, on scene. We had an amazing opportunity. Do we have anything else? Okay, so Swingcation before we...
I am going to say that December 14th through 21st, 2024, it's not going to be this high.
It won't
It's
be.
gonna be beautiful.
And
True.
it's not that it's hot. It's just that we're sitting in this little hut, and so
there's
there's
no
no airflow, but it is a little bit humid tonight.
It's a bit humid.
It's June.
Yeah.
It's June in the Caribbean, so it's going to be warm. But that's okay. It's been a glorious week. We'll talk about that in a minute.
It's been
Is there
amazing.
anything else that we need to talk about that's coming up? I don't think.
No, really, just Naughty in New Orleans.
Yeah.
And-
So we'll be
but
reporting
it
back
will
on
be
that.
it will have been passed by the time this is out. So.
Yes. So come back for that episode when we talk about that recap of that one, since we'll be the kings and queens, and we have to ride on a float. And we're
We
gonna
actually
see
need to rest up this week.
before
to
I
get
know
ready
to
for
get ready
Naughty.
for our next couple of weeks. Oh, good grief. So
We're not crazy.
So we came to Kinky Caribbean and again decided to do this event. So Kinky Caribbean is a group that came down to Hedo to be kinky together. And we were invited to come and teach some of our seminars, and we are actually teaching 4 of our Swinky Life classes. We're doing beginner bedroom rope play, our Smack My Ass and Call Me Swinky, which is a beginner impact class. And then we're also talking about bridging the gap between swinging and kink. And then our last one is called Relationships Unchained, and that talks about the very many different dynamics of ethical non-monogamy and different relationship dynamics that there are out there, and what we found that works for us, and we talk a lot about our dynamic within that presentation. So we're excited. So we were asked to do these presentations, very excited to do them. Our first couple of classes have just gone amazingly well. We're just having the best time.
Great.
And so so that's why we're here for this event, and that was what led into the creation of the Swinkcation, I think, event, is really talking about what can we do to bring these two communities together. So stay tuned for a lot more information about what the Swinkcation is going to turn into, but the whole idea is that swingers at all levels, kinksters at all levels, folks that want to bridge that gap and kind of play in both communities or be in both communities, we're going to have stuff for everybody to kind of get together, and there'll be kink stuff, there'll be swinger stuff. It's going to be amazing. And everybody, the way that anything that's going to go here at Hedo is, I love the way that our leader that's putting on this event talked to us about it, and he said it's always choose your own adventure. So if you just want to come down to Hedo and spend the time with us and not really do anything else and just relax and sit back and go on a couple of the excursions or something, totally want you to do that. It's your week to do with what you want. We're just going to have a whole bunch of extra really cool shit to do if you want to do it,
Yes, we will.
right?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So our week here, we're teaching these classes, and we have met just the most amazing people. Presenters, attendees alike have just been fantastic. And we really kind of wanted to give you a taste of what some of that was like. So we asked a couple of the presenters if they would be willing to come on and talk to us a little bit about their backgrounds and a little bit about what they're talking about here at Kinky Caribbean during this week that we're here, and what that looks like for them. So we spent about an hour or so this evening, or a little bit earlier, talking to them. And I think we'll play that interview now.
Yeah.
So we'll play that interview for you now. Well, we're back.
We are back.
We're back. And we're back with our audience. There's actually audience here, you guys. I can't see them because these lights are in our faces, but they are here, and you guys look amazing, by the way. Everybody looks so great. Where are we, babe? We talked about it already.
I know, yeah. We talked about it in the last episode, but we are at Hedonism 2 in Negril, Jamaica.
Yes, we are.
And we are having the best fucking time. We've been here since Saturday. Today is Wednesday.
Yes.
And yeah, we're rolling hard.
And as we said, we're here for Kinky Caribbean, so all of our Kinky Caribbean friends and family are here. Yay. Yes. So it just happens to also be kink night at the resort. So everybody's dressed up in their leather gear, and so you guys, unfortunately, you can't see it, but they all look amazing. So it's really, really cool. So as we said, we've been at Hedo for quite a few days, and in this amazing Kinky Caribbean event that we've just been having a blast, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that afterwards, but we wanted to introduce you guys to some of the folks that we've met while we're here, so a couple of our co-presenters, but to also kind of give an idea about their stories, a little bit about their stories and what they do and why they're here. And we thought that'd be really fun to talk to them and kind of get some ideas and thoughts from them about this trip, this vacation, this event, and lifestyle stuff in general. So without further ado, we're going to introduce you to Paul.
Hello, everyone.
And Dr. Bing Parkinson. We just like to call him Dr. Bing or Bang, yes. Thank you guys so much for being here with us. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. So Paul, we've been talking a lot. So with Kinky Caribbean, we had a big Discord group, and everybody's contacting each other and writing in the group about who we are and what we're doing, and the presenters are connecting with each other. And when we started talking, we realized we have some in common about not only the kink side of things, but actually in the non-monogamy side of
very
things.
nice.
And so you commented that you kind of had a background in your non-monogamy, and so I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit about that.
Yeah, I last attempted monogamy as a teenager,
Oh, so it's been a while.
and I'm 52 now. So I've had a lifetime of non-monogamy. Interestingly enough, the last time I attempted monogamy, I also failed. And that was the lesson that taught me, I think, that going into a ethical non-monogamy would make me feel better about it. Specifically, I just think I was making very big promises that I couldn't deliver on. And when you make very big promises that you can't deliver on and you're breaking them all the time, you feel like
Yeah.
you just don't feel like you're the person that you want to be. I want to live my life wholeheartedly and with integrity. And realizing that I was a chronic cheater when in monogamous relationships was exactly the moment when I realized there's got to be some better way. And it was a few years after that The Ethical Slut was published, which I'm sure many of your audience have read.
Yes.
And to me, it was an eye-opening, because I had been, kind of fumbling my way blindfolded through trying to find some sort of culture or ethical framework for what it was that I was trying to achieve. To me, that was the crystallization moment.
Wow. So that's actually a favorite book of ours.
Yeah, absolutely. And we read that very early in our E&M journey, and it's been a guidepost for us, and it really helped us through when we run up against issues, when we run up against questions. We always kind of refer back to The Ethical Slut.
Yeah.
And it's a great guidepost.
It really is.
It was the book for me that allowed me to be okay with being a slut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was finally the
Me
thing
too,
that
big
gave me
slut.
permission to be able to live, not only to be able to live authentically, but that there were other people that were talking about living the same way that I wanted to live, and that's okay to talk about it in public and be open with your alternative choices.
Yeah.
So you found the book, and that really helped you.
Yep. I was I actually was dating my current partner, and my current partner of 30 something years, if you do the math. And she was working at the Women's Center at my university, and she had developed a crush on a colleague, and she wanted to develop that further. And simultaneously, she had told me, I will never trust you with monogamy. So this was a pivotal moment. The reason she would never trust me with monogamy is because I had cheated on my previous partner with her.
Oh.
So this is she's totally looped into my ethical failings before I went this route. And so we ended up in a quad. Her colleague, her girlfriend, and my partner ended up in a quad. And one of the things that I found very isolating in those early years is that I had no friends I could confide in. This has all changed now. These are our friends, the community that we're building and your podcast is building. These are our friends. But back then I had no friends I could confide in, because any friend I would complain about the tension and the drama and the instability of a quad would just say, "Shut up, Paul, you're screwing 3 women."
Right.
All I want to do when you complain about it is punch you in the mouth. And so you get very little empathy from people who haven't lived the experience. But those of you who have, one of these 3 women was a lesbian and had no interest in me whatsoever. There was a normal amount of jealousy that you would expect to see, and I just don't think these relationships are they're certainly not for beginners, right? There's a very challenging amount of tensions to reconcile, and especially at a time before The Ethical Slut was published, like there's just so little culture and help. So it was a very challenging transition, but obviously made it through.
Right. Wow. And so in the time since, you have moved on to other partners. You're saying,
Yeah.
it sounds like.
Well, we're still together, but I've had other partners. I'm a slut. Yeah.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's okay.
So you realized very early on, I find that fascinating that you realized as a teenager that monogamy was not going to be something that was for you. Was that challenging, dating other people, and did you talk about that, or?
Yes, I've never tricked anybody into bed. So I don't think it's a good idea to trick people into bed. Even for a one-night stand, I don't think that's a great idea. So, I mean, my entire goal was to live my life with integrity and to be a fully integrated person where I could be myself. And so, yeah, certainly, everybody has always known.
And so I want to switch a little bit now and talk about why you're also here.
Sure.
I would call you Swinky, like us.
Oh, I think so.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
And so a swinger and a kinkster. And so tell us now a little about the kink side.
Sure.
Paul.
Well, it's interesting because the kink is what brought me to swinging. My first experience, I'm an accidental kinkster.
Oh,
Isn't
great.
that interesting? Yeah. My
Yay,
first experience.
accidental kinksters, yes.
My first experience with kink is I had a lover in a poly context, and she really, I wouldn't say just wanted, she absolutely needed me to slap her very hard in the face during our sex play. And I had no experience with this whatsoever. And I really struggled with deciding to, the good giving game concept of just playing ball with what your partner wants to do, which I absolutely, but to me it was an emotional journey to get past a bit of a barrier to decide, yeah, okay, I will do this for you. Like, there was no question of consent, okay? It's quite the opposite. It's quite the opposite. There was a lot of special pleading for this moment to happen.
Right.
And but I worked it through, and I decided I wanted to do this for them. And when I did, I was extremely surprised and troubled by my emotional reaction to the situation. In that I was incredibly aroused, and I don't just mean sexually. I mean, I was absolutely alert and energized to the situation in ways that I don't think I had ever experienced in that context before. And I mean, I like sex, don't get me wrong, but this was like a completely other level that I had never experienced. I felt like this is like both a level unlocked moment and also a, Paul, what the is wrong with you that you liked this that way?
Right.
I thought I would be doing this purely as a service, and that I would be getting nothing out of it, and in fact struggling to get to the decision to do it. But the reality was it really moved me in a visceral way. And it took me a lot of time to process that, to reconcile that with, obviously with my life partner working at the Women's Center in her undergrad. I'm a lifelong feminist. I've been very active in women in tech movements and so on. It really took me a long amount of personal work to process that. And by long, I mean like several weeks, okay? But the result was me coming to a place of acceptance that that consent is unbelievably hot, and that if you want to do a thing and your partner does too, you can create things that are on a different level than what you can in the absence of those sorts of intensities. This really is about it, that the way that your adrenaline and your endorphins all mix together in your bloodstream is a super completely new level.
Wow.
That is incredibly fascinating because I think we have a lot in common. And I just met you 2 days ago,
Yep.
but in talking, I think we have a lot in common because I've had that identical struggle in my kind of fledgling kink exploration. And so I thank you for telling me that. I can totally relate to that.
Yeah, I had to write a poem about it. I'll share it with you later.
All right.
Oh, cool.
Awesome.
And I agree 1,000,000%. And I love you thank you for sharing that, because it can be very challenging for people I think a lot of people across the board want to acknowledge the fact that they might be into something that feels deviant or wrong. And already, even as swingers, we're already so far outside the societal norm. Sometimes we feel like even within our own community that's even considered deviant and weird within the swinger community.
Indulge me, please, because I'd like to just make sure that your audience knows that being slapped hard in the face is not a beginner or particularly, it's certainly not something you can ever surprise your partner with. Okay, this is relatively, I would call it, intermediate level, and certainly requires active and enthusiastic consent before you play with that stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. Absolutely. And we do talk about things like that. And we talk about it a lot in our own journey, because our journey was such baby steps. But absolutely. And I think that as we talk about with anything, and people will hear it ad nauseum on our podcast, communication. It's all that we ever talk about. And so you have to have those conversations before that stuff even comes to play. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but thank you for mentioning that. And I think that there's a lot of times, what would you suggest to people to do to be able to, you said you did a lot of work for yourself, some weeks of kind of introspection, I suspect, about what that means, or how
for me it involved writing poetry, and maybe I'll send it to you, and maybe you could even share it with the audience if they want to see it. See the poem that I wrote to work this through. But what happened was I was unable to stop thinking about anything else. I was at work, I was walking around town, and it was completely, I had intrusive thoughts about it all the time. And when that happens to me, I find a poem is helpful because it lets me crystallize the way that I felt at that moment. And then once I've written the poem and it's complete, then I don't need to think about it anymore. I know I can come back and work on it some more just by reading my own poem, and I'll feel the same things I felt, and then I can work on it later. So that was really the bulk of it, was the couple weeks of trying to decode how I felt, trying to rationalize the power of consent to support the intensity of my feelings. And at the end of it, my partner helped me through it. My partner helped me through it. Her gratitude was unfakeable. And she absolutely was extremely supportive in helping me process the feelings that I was feeling. We call that top drop sometimes. I don't know if anybody else has heard that in the audience, but that feeling is real. There's sub drop as well. I'm sure that your material will cover this, but your partner is absolutely pivotal in helping you through those feelings. And I think that was ultimately for me, introspection, writing my poetry so I could put it away and stop obsessing about it, and my partner's support was the answer.
Wow, that's really beautiful.
Lots of communication in multiple ways. Your own communication with yourself, your introspection, you're talking with them, your poetry. That's amazing. It's amazing.
Wow.
So thank you so much for sharing that with us. I appreciate
my pleasure.
that. And then Dr. Parkinson, Dr. Bing, thank you. Did you guys see
Thank
Dr.
you for
Bing?
having us.
Everybody see his, yes. So excited to bring Dr. Bing here. Because we had the pleasure of seeing his presentation yesterday. Gosh, it feels like it was a week ago, but it was just yesterday. It was probably 24 hours. But it was so fascinating because, as you guys know that listen to our podcast on a regular basis, I am going through my own kind of journey, my own midlife lady issues. And so started working with a functional medicine doctor and talking about some of those things, hormones, libidos, what does that look like? Why am I struggling? And as our audience knows, as our listeners know, that has been something that's really been troubling for me. And we talked about it very, very briefly. But tell us about what your specialty is. And,
I'm kind of give people a little background. I'm a traditionally trained, board-certified internist, and a couple of years ago I thought, there's got to be a better way. And there's got to be a way to help more people live life to the fullest, and I mean everywhere in life, from their sexual life to their personal lives to anxiety, depression, you name it, there's got to be a better way. So I kind of came into some of this by accident myself with illnesses that I had struggled with that I had to overcome, and I developed a company that does things differently, and we address the whole person, and we get people just like yourself back in line to being who you are, and not who, unfortunately, life and the loss of hormones and things have left you with. And we pick the pieces up and we let people have beautiful, full lives. It's a big thing we do, and we do way more than just sexual health. It's a huge portion of the things that we do, because everyone here knows that a sexually fulfilling life is fantastic. Am I right?
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, and if we can do it in such a way that prevents us from having this huge anxiety and guilt reflex and all these other things, and keeps us young and healthy for a very, very long time, why not?
Right.
So that's the approach that I took. This is kind of how I came into this, and thankfully for Kinky Caribbean for kind of a chance meeting. And this is how we ended up here totally by accident with a chance meeting with Kinky Caribbean, and they sponsored us to come down for our talk. And it was just fantastic to get to talk to a whole diverse group of people who are so willing and so open to hear what the things that are out there that can change their lives. So that's kind of my background. So I have extensive training in hormone therapy and using hormones that actually are meant to be used, the ones that don't cause cancer per se and don't cause long-term problems, ones that are going to make you live a nice full life. And I spent a lot of time finding those things that actually work for people. And part of the thing that I probably do different than a lot of doctors, that I would go out on all the little Facebook groups and I would join some of the support groups and I would listen to people's problems. And very wise old doctor once said, if you listen long enough, your patient will tell you what's wrong with them. If you listen even longer, they'll tell you how to fix it. So one of the first things I did was listen. And I went out and started listening to people's issues, whether it be weight, anxiety, their sexual issues, whatever it was. And then I came back and said, well, what can we do to fix that? What can we do to address that? What can we do to make their journey their own? And it's not one size fits all. Every person that's in our audience has their own journey, and you should be treated that way. You should be treated that this is your journey, and someone should be there for you. So that's how my approach to the things have been.
So in case you guys didn't see that is why we asked Dr. Bing to be here, because that does not feel amazing for someone to say that yes, we're going to help you with that. And so thank you.
I appreciate that from everyone here.
Yes. So I wanted to say though, in your talk, this is something that we've talked about. So swingers in the lifestyle in our mid 50s and moving forward, and we get the chance to meet just so many amazing swingers and people in the lifestyle that are in all ages and ranges. And when Tristan and I first got in the lifestyle, we were younger, 5 years younger, and our bodies weren't going through these changes, and we were pretty invincible 5 years ago, and especially when you're learning something new. And I learned how to be multi-orgasmic and all this great stuff, and so we were never thought we would ever need help with anything, and who does that kind of stuff, and men put stuff in their ass and all this other kind of thing. And so there's still a lot of taboo around a lot of that, and hearing you speak yesterday was so amazing. The attitude that you have about that, about educating people. So I wanted to see if you could kind of share a little bit of that idea about the why nots.
I will. And so as you both found, every once in a while the universe throws a wrench in things. And a wrench in things that we all love. A wrench in things that we all want to continue to love. So how do we approach that? I always give a little spill in some of the very beginning of my talks when we do these things about the conversation between a patient and a doctor and how that conversation goes. And your traditional doctor, one, they're very uncomfortable talking about these things. Not only that, you're very uncomfortable talking about these things to a very stiff-necked, conservative physician who really is there to treat you and get you out the door. Treat you and get you out the door because there's 25 other people waiting in line. So there's a different approach. I tell everyone, that we need to normalize all of this. The conversation I have is, it's not taboo, it's not wrong. These are not things. You should be able to go to your doctor and trust that say, I'm having these problems. And they should look at you and say, tell me, let's hear it. And then they should say, well, here's what we can do to address that. Here's what we can do to fix that. And they should be able to give you examples, because hopefully they're helping other people through these things. And you'll find that regular physicians, and trust me, I've been there. Before I made this real commitment and changed my life to do things differently for people, I was that doctor. I was that doctor that you came in and I got you done and I got you out, because that's the way healthcare is. There's not time. So I decided in my own practice and my own things outside is I'm giving every patient all the time they need. And not only that, I'm building the trust that they need so they can be open with me. It doesn't matter what lifestyle you're in. I don't care which end you're on. I don't care if you're a very traditional. I don't care if you're a kinkster. I don't care if you're a regular swinger. What I care about is you. And that's the sense that you need to have. Every person that comes through that door, that's what they need to have. They need to have that, I know that I can express what I need to your physician. And there are other people out there, not just myself, guys. There's other people that have chosen to do things like I'm doing. And they give you the time. Like I personally have chosen in my own practice, instead of seeing 25 people a day, which is the national average for an internist, I never see more than 12, ever. And if I have someone who I know that they just need more time, they get more time. And my lovely wife is in the audience, and she manages my practice, and she knows when those people come in, we make sure they have all the time in the world that they need. And that's how we address that, because you have to build that trust. And you may come tell me something that you're totally comfortable saying, because you know that this is what I do, that you then may not go back and talk to your regular doctor about, because you know you're just not that comfortable with them. And you know that they're not going to be able to relate. They're not going to be able to give you that trust back, or the empathy back, or the things you need to get you back on track. And the next thing is, they need to quit treating you as a number. Like, you don't come to the clinic to say, I have normal numbers from your doctor, and then leave feeling as poorly as you did when you came in. You need to go to a physician that the goal is we have a plan for you to feel better by the time you leave that door. Don't get me wrong, lab numbers, all these things, we need to have them. We need to know what baselines are. We need to know everything else. But those mean nothing. The person that is in front of you means everything. And that's what you have to have. And like that's the relationship you have to build. And when you do that, people from all lifestyles then can come in and they can share what they need to get better, to be better, to feel better, to overcome whatever it is. And trust me, we hear everything. I mean, people tell us things that you would I'm like the bartender of physicians. People come to me with their, whatever it is. And in the very beginning, sometimes they're a little shocked and that they can actually do this. But anytime you come to my clinic specifically, and other people, it's the same thing, I'm sure there'll be other people like me, they'll come in for anything. And I'll ask, how's your sex life? And they'll be like, I'm here for a cold. I'm like, when you're part of the family, and we really treat our clients and patients that way, I will ask you things that make you a little uncomfortable that first couple of times. And then they will know in the future, like, oh, it's actually okay to say this. And almost everybody out there, and I guarantee people in this audience, if you came to me the first time too, and I'd say, how's your sex life? You'd give me the very canned, oh, it's great, it's fine, it's blah, blah, blah. And then the next time you'd come to see me, you'd be like, actually, I need to talk to you about something. My spouse can't keep up with me, or I can't keep up with my spouse. And we get that all the time. But that's the trust that has to be built. And it's like anything, it takes time. It takes time.
Absolutely. And we talked about also in your conversation, you talked about that. So having a doctor, and if it can't be you, definitely finding a doctor that you can trust and talk to about this. And there are you guys out there. Yeah. I have found one. You are one. There are those out there. I think one of the things that is really can continue to be taboo is taking things that may make you feel better, and why are those not necessarily looked down on, but you are so strong about why wouldn't you do something to make yourself feel better? Why wouldn't you, if for instance a trimix, which is an injection that men put in their penis to get an erection, that why wouldn't you do that if that makes it better for you? And I don't know, I think people are really torn on that because they don't know that they can do, or if it's okay to do these, or does that mean I'm a broken person because I need to
and we get this a lot, and actually men who come through the door, most of the time by the time they've come to me, it's because we don't advertise at all. I'm like, our advertisement is you, or whoever else comes and sees us. By the time they come to me, they already know that I do things differently, and they're kind of just ready to step past that taboo of, is this wrong to take? Am I not a man if I take this? Is there something wrong with me if I take this? They're on that cusp, that precipice, and it's okay for them to come in. And then we explain to them that, why would it be wrong, or why would you be less of who you are if I were to give you something that allows you to do what you want to do? There's nothing wrong with that. Not only that, it's not only going to help you, you have a partner, most of you, some of you may have several partners, or you may be finding a partner. It's not just for you. It's now all of a sudden for more than just yourself. That means that you're actually more of the masculinity thing I bring up a lot, because this throws a lot of wrenches and things. That makes you more of the man or the person or whoever for stepping up and doing what was best for you, your partner, your friend, family, whatever it was that got you there and needed you to be there. There's nothing taboo with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And the same for women. This is a conversation I get a lot too. I get husband talks or the wife talks. It doesn't matter. This goes back and forth. And they say, they just don't have the interest they used to have. I'm not even sure if they're attracted to me anymore. They're still really good sports. They come and do the things we want to do, but I don't see that they get the pleasure out of the things they used to. They don't get to the finish line like they used to. They just don't seem to have the interest or the ability to get there like they used to. And these dynamics we hear all the time. And the shocking thing is I tell them that it's not that they don't love you. It's not that they're not interested. It's that they actually have a neural brain chemistry issue that we can fix. They're perimenopausal, menopausal, whatever it might be that has now started to take away some of their ability to be that same person again. We can bring that person back. They are still in there, and we can help you get that person back. And that's something that because couples, when I'll give you some statistics here, and I mean, probably not everyone's favorite. The number of divorces that are initiated, and we're all actually there's a lot of people who are in very open relationships, so we're going to use the statistics that probably doesn't mean a hell of a lot for a lot of people here, but it's going to be helpful. The number of divorces initiated by men versus women. Before menopause men, after menopause women. Why is that? Women lose who they are with perimenopause and menopause. We take away hormones that actively make their brain work and function differently. We take away hormones that allow them to sleep, allow them to control anxiety, allow them to be who they are when they become menopausal. And there's this idea in medicine that that's a normal part of aging. That's just okay for you to be that way. It's okay for you to be miserable. It's okay for you to be miserable with night sweats, to not feel well, to not do well. No, we can fix that so you can be the person you are again. The same person that your spouse fell in love with. The same person that you used to love that right now you may not know who it is. And that happens. And that's something you need to do to bring things back. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing taboo with that. There's nothing wrong whatsoever with saying, I'd like to be that person again. I'd like to have the energy of that person again. I'd like to be interested again. I'd like to go out and do these events with whoever I'm doing them with, be it 1, 2, 3, however, whatever it is. And I want to enjoy life again. There's nothing taboo with that. And I tell everyone here too, if you feel that way, if you feel it's taboo, if you feel like you can't talk to your doctor in that kind of manner, find another doctor.
There you go. Right.
Absolutely.
Right. I think we're going to have Dr. Bing on
for
another episode and talk a lot about this.
Yeah, so I'm about 8 months into probably a year-long project of collecting enough data points on my journey with specifically trimix that we've talked about. Started with the trimix mishap, and that we'll talk about in detail. But I need to learn everything. Unfortunately,
I'd be happy to come back.
Unfortunately, I was working. I had to miss your talk yesterday, but we talked afterwards, and I was just fascinated. So we are definitely going to have many more conversations, and I would love to have you on to talk when probably in a couple of months, when I put this episode together to talk about my, at that point, year-long journey on kind of rediscovering myself in the same way that Myrina has been doing
with
And
bird
it's
doctors.
fascinating 'cause it is a journey too, where you get to rediscover yourself.
Oh yeah, it's a total game changer.
Yeah.
What I've
Yeah.
learned thus far, and my eyes have been way opened just in the last.
And
24
I
hours
do
talking
believe
to
we're
you.
going to try to do the talk again tomorrow.
I think, yeah, I did hear that, by the
Yes.
way, yeah, too.
And I will be there.
But I think I just wanted to say thank you to both of you so much for coming and sitting here with us this evening in this beautiful Jamaican evening. In case it's a little bit hot and sweaty, in case you guys didn't figure that part out, but it really is. But it's beautiful, and this week has been an amazing week. I don't know about you guys, but we've just met. All you guys are amazing out there. Our fabulous audience. Give us a shout out. Clap for yourselves. Clap for yourselves. It has been so fun, and I don't know. We talk about it often. We'll talk about it more. I had no idea. I had no expectation, and so anything that I even thought it was going to be this week has been better. And
Right.
just meeting everybody and with everybody, and so everybody has been so wonderful. I don't know why I would have thought differently, but of course, everybody has been.
Well, so for me, I've been so busy that it's like, oh, we're leaving tomorrow. I got to pack, and so my brain has not been in this until what we got here, and then I had things blow up at work. But I've had the most amazing 4 days since we've been here, and we've met the most amazing people. And thank you.
We're looking at our leader over there.
At our
at our
concations
organizer, yes.
leader, yes, organizer.
But thank you both so much for being here with us, and I hope that we'll see you again next time that we do this event, or any event or whatever. But thanks for sharing your stories. And
We would love to.
thank you. That was our conversation with Paul and Dr. Bing, and our live studio audience. That was our first time in front of a really
fun.
big live studio.
Yeah.
How many people did you say were there? About 40 people?
Maybe.
Yeah, possibly,
I mean,
yeah.
think about all
I
the
was
roses.
focused
Oh
on
yeah. I would
cameras
say.
and shit.
Yeah.
I couldn't see beyond the light.
Yeah, it was really cool. So everybody came, and that you heard them and cheering along in the background. So it was really, really neat. But they were just a few of the amazing people that we've met here and spent time with. But we thought we would tell you a little bit about our trip and how this whole trip has gone so far. And we're hoping
And
that
again,
the
we're only
next
4 days in.
I know
so,
we're
yeah,
hoping that the next 2 days aren't very eventful, so that it just is like this is the fun stuff that all happened. Although we'll fill you in on anything that continues on from there. So, so who wants to talk about how our trip started off? This is Wednesday night. This is a Wednesday night, and we got our trip started last Saturday.
Yeah,
Saturday
so-
morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Saturday morning, we woke up there. What time was so our scheduled flight leaving Tampa to go to Fort Lauderdale, then from Fort Lauderdale to Montego Bay. So
Our original flight was scheduled for 9:30.
9:30. All right, so we got up at 6 something
6.
to have our 25-year-old, 26-year-old, whatever he is now, take us to the airport. And he's an airplane nerd, and so he whenever we travel, he'll tell us what type of plane we're going to be on, where it originated, where it's going, is it on time? He doesn't know who the pilots are, but it's really about
Practically.
it's almost that granular, the
Practically,
details
right.
that he gets into, and so we're up, we're getting ready, and he said, so I learned last night, but I didn't want to wake you up, that your flight's already been delayed from
9:30 in the morning
to 5:30 in the afternoon. We're like, what the f***? So our connecting flight from Fort Lauderdale is at 1:30.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so clearly there's a disconnect here. And so, we're in 2 different households. We contact them and say, hey, do we want to drive to Fort Lauderdale? Because,
We were already on the road.
Yeah, we were
already
halfway to the
Yeah, yeah,
airport
that's right,
already.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we decided, no, we're going to make this the airline's problem, and we're going to go, and we're going to show up dutifully, and just go through their process, and so we arrived at the Tampa International Airport, and sure enough,
That's where Crimson dropped me off at the boarding dock,
Mhm.
and then she just drove a few laps around the terminal because the other thing was, the only place we'd actually heard this from yet was from your son.
Yeah, from my
And
son,
we had
yeah.
not gotten-
But we trust the fuck out of him because he
Right.
knows
He
more than
knows,
anyone
yes.
else about the situation.
We had no email.
no
emails,
nothing,
no
no text from the
nothing.
airlines at all.
So,
and to my knowledge, we
I'm
still
she's-
haven't.
She's driving. I'm on the phone while we're approaching the airport. Can't get on the website. There's a 30-minute delay to talk to an agent. I'm like, this is not good. So she drops me off. I go running in, get in line at the gate, and actually begin to talk to someone. Sure enough, the flight has been pushed back to 5:30. No real explanation of why. The poor guy at the gate doesn't really know what's going on. He's just looking at his screen. But he asked if we had a connection, and I said yes. We're catching a flight to Jamaica, and he tried. He worked at it for like 10 minutes, and then he finally said, "I'm sorry. There's absolutely nothing I can do. You might want to try this airline and this airline and this airline. We don't have partnerships with them. I can't see their system. They may have a flight." So I'm texting all of this back and forth to these guys while they've all met in the cell phone parking lot now. So I'm running around the airport like crazy, and they're going through one of our favorite pre-flight rituals, which is shuffle everyone's shit around through the 8 suitcases until everyone is exactly at 49.5 pounds,
Right.
so that we can get through customs. So,
Right.
so I'm running around the. I finally, after checking with 3 airlines, Southwest says we have a flight. It leaves in 1 hour. The 3 of them are not even in the terminal yet. They're sitting in the cell phone parking lot. And but she said there's 30 seats on it. It's no problem if you just get here. We'll get you on the flight. So I tell them, new plan emerges. They're shoving all the luggage into one car. Their son's going to drop them off. The other car's already parked, and the luggage has been redistributed. So we're locked and loaded. And the next half hour-ish of our life was absolutely insane.
Yeah.
It was a mad dash, yeah.
I'm losing. Well, I had to park. I parked in the economy parking, so I had to meet you guys. So I'm running to get to you guys, and then you were off talking with one airlines, and we're trying to wait in line for another to buy our tickets.
Oh, that's right, because
Yeah,
we
there
had to
was-
make sure
yeah.
That we
because
weren't
it
gonna
was
get
because it
canceled.
was an international itinerary. We were worried that if we just bailed out on the first leg, then when we got to the actual international part, they would say, "Oh,
didn't
you weren't
show,
on
you
your
didn't check
original
in." Right,
itinerary.
yeah,
You can't
right.
get on this plane." So we were really worried about that. So you're off talking with JetBlue. We're off talking with Southwest. We're getting 2 different stories.
Yeah.
What a shock!
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then finally, our new best friend in the world.
Susie!
Susie
Susie at
from
Southwest!
Southwest.
Susie at
We love you, Susie at Southwest!
She's
She's on our Instagram feed, hiding in the
is.
background. If you want to go look, she was
She was
amazing.
amazing. She was so calm.
She did. She
I
kept
mean,
us
she was
calm. She kept us cool. She's like, "You guys are doing great. It's all
I know.
okay."
But we all stayed super calm. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty chaotic. And then so we're racing to get up to the gate. We've got, boarding time. They're getting ready to board, start boarding. You have a half hour or so to board. And at Tampa Airport, it's a crapshoot as to which line ever moves faster. So I picked the line. It was not the fastest moving line. Actually, I think they were both going pretty slow. But we're going through the one that's the machine where you don't have to take off as many clothes, and I thought that would be better. And you just put your crap through the machine, and it x-rays it, and you go. So everybody's bags all come out, and my bag gets pushed aside. And I'm like, really? Like, my bag I never get pushed aside. So I'm like, fine, whatever. But there's a line of bags that are waiting to be checked. There's no bag checker anywhere. I was probably bag number 6 in the line. And all of a sudden we hear them saying, "We're starting to board the flight to Fort Lauderdale." And I'm like, oh, shit.
I run to the gate.
Yeah.
And I tell them our sad story. And I'm like, "She's just over there. Please wait for us."
So they finally start checking my bag, and sure enough, in my makeup bag, which I never carry in my carry-on, but we were worried if our bags got separated that we wouldn't have all of our stuff, so I had like a couple change of clothes in a carry-on. So I threw my makeup in there, and in my makeup bag there was a tiny little pocket knife, which I wasn't trying to obviously do anything, but what are the odds that would happen? So sure enough, they found that finally. The guy's neatly, nicely packing the stuff back in my suitcase, and Phoenix is just like, "Throw it in there, we gotta go." And so,
The gate had already told us 90 seconds, and we're
and
shutting
they
the
were
door.
counting down, and I'm like
I
trying
see
to
her.
run.
She's done.
Trying to run across, and I don't even have my shoes on, and I'm trying to run and put my shoes on. I'm like, I just had to stop and put my shoes on. I know, I'm sorry, but I just did. But they could see me. So we finally make it on the plane, and of course there's not any two seats together.
We're all
but
over
it was
the
like
place.
it's like a 20-minute flight from Tampa to Fort Lauderdale. So it was
38 minutes.
Oh, that's right, 38
minutes,
minutes.
yeah.
38
38-minute
horrible
flight.
minutes.
The most expensive flight ever.
Yes.
God.
And we
Exactly.
just said we'll
What
buy
I
it.
like,
We don't
we
care.
don't want to miss a day.
We didn't want to miss a day in Jamaica.
Hito, and
Speaking
we
of
wanna
which,
go.
we need to start to do something about
I know.
that.
I've already started.
I thought of that last night
I
too.
haven't thought of it at all.
We
I
never
have.
officially took
No.
care of anything.
There
We
was
just
never-
ran to another plane and
There was
kept
never an
going.
email. There was never
did-
email.
really?
There was never
Nothing.
anything.
We just got
So-
to Jamaica and said we took off our clothes and said that was it.
That was it.
So, anyways, the bottom line is we made it to Jamaica. We had actually a very nice flight from Fort Lauderdale to JetBlue, and then when we got here,
Yeah.
is that what you wanted me to
Club
say?
Mobay?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Worth every
Worth
penny.
every
So
God.
we had been told that you can go on this thing called Club Mobay. And that it's like $40 a person for arriving. It's like $80 if you do it on the way in and out of Montego Bay. I couldn't remember the airport. Yeah, of Montego Bay Airport. And so somebody told us to do that, and they said it's worth the money. What happens is that they will meet you and they will help expedite you through customs. And we're like, you know what, that sounds really great. And then you get to sit in their little lounge while you're waiting for your bus, and they have drinks and food. And I'm like, you know what, that sounds great. Yeah. So we said, okay, we'll treat ourselves to that. Well, let me tell you what expediting against customs means. It means you walk through the Disney World of people standing in line all through the entire airport, and you just walk right by all of them. She walks you right up to a machine. You do your thing. Bada bing. We were probably less than 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, picking
was
up on the
amazing.
Disney net, we fast passed our way into Jamaica.
But it was
awesome.
hot pass. It was the fastest fast pass on the planet ever.
We came down the escalator. She had a sign with all 4 of our names on it.
Yep.
And she strode up, opened up a rope. We went in.
Yeah, it was really
After
it
the
was
morning
awesome.
that we had, it was just
we
were so pleased.
refreshing.
it was
Yes.
so appreciated.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
We were so thankful. So that was awesome. So if you ever come to Hito, Club Mobay.
Club Mobay.
We've heard, and we did hear also that some of the people that were coming on our trip couldn't get it because they sell out. They only sell so many spaces for their lounge, basically, that they can handle as the planes come in. So they know the schedules and they know what they can take. So there's only so many seats. And we got it. So we're doing it on the way out, too. So we'll report back on how that is.
And I think it's also worth mentioning that aside from fast tracking us through customs, it was our first introduction to the incredible hospitality of Jamaica.
Yeah.
All of the people who are doing everything in the world to make our vacation amazing here are just as
Super
nice
nice
and relaxed as they can possibly be.
Yes.
And that is so cool.
Yes. It's really, so we can talk about that now. So, because we were at Club Mobay, we did our thing, they come get us, we're getting on the bus. We're on the bus with probably a dozen other people that are also coming to Hito. Yeah. So, but it's about an hour to a 90-minute bus ride from the airport to Negril, where Hedonism is located, and so it's a long bus ride, and you can take your drinks though from the bar. You get your complimentary rum punches and beers and things like that. You can take it on the bus with you, but there really wasn't a place to stop and go to the bathroom, so be aware of that. Yeah, so be aware of that. But it was really then quite the shift. So you're driving through, Jamaica is not a rich country. It's a pretty poor country. And you see all of that when you drive from the airport to your fancy resort. It really blows my mind.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where the other people, so we haven't really visited very much of the area, but where Hedonism is located, it's at one end of what's it called, 7 Mile?
I think so, yeah.
7 Mile Beach or whatever all the area where all the fancy, hotels and things are. It's a long area, but this is at the tail end of it. So we didn't get to see a lot of that until we went on that one excursion. Right. So we didn't get to see all the pretty, pristine, fancy landscape areas. I mean, it's just nothing but it's a poverty-stricken country, and so it's amazing that, as you said, their culture. The culture is at least in the service industry, is incredibly helpful, incredibly kind. It's still their own vibe, though.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely is.
Sometimes
Island
it's like
time.
you're like, am I irritating them by asking this question? But they're still really nice about whatever it is that, you know. So, yeah, but it's just a different. It's just very, very, very different. When you're
Yeah, and I'll say here, it's absolutely top notch, and the people, you know, so like I've made friends with all the bartenders.
Well, let's explain why you have made friends with all the bartenders.
Well, because it's been, so I like to set an intention, you know, for everywhere that we go and everything that we do, and so
I thought your intention was to have sex with other people.
Well, yeah, well, obviously that's
okay.
all. But see, that's my always intention.
Oh,
So
okay.
like my specific intention, that's just my, you know, my background grassroots intention. My specific intention for this week is to drink every red stripe in the country of Jamaica, and so I'm
He's getting there.
I'm getting there.
You're
Yeah.
We keep saying he's going to empty every keg here at the resort, so
Yeah.
that's why all the bartenders know him by
Yeah,
name.
so particularly
they're his best
Yes.
friends.
particularly my good friend Ricardo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, every time I see him, he's like, "Hey, Tristan," you know, and fist bump.
He even
and-
came up to me.
No, no.
Oh,
I hear Myrina, and I turn around. I'm in the line at the buffet, and I turn around, and it's this hotel staff person. He's like, "Hey, I know Tristan. Tristan told me to come and say," or if he said, Tristan said something. I said, "Did he tell you to come say hello?" He goes, "No, not really, but he told me you were here. I just want to say hello. I love Tristan."
Because he met me with
Yeah.
Crimson, and so yeah, he saw us together, and he's like, "So wait, well, yeah." So I had to explain that.
Oh, yeah.
So he said, "So you came here with your wife and your girlfriend?" And I said, "Well, yeah."
you're the
So-
man.
Oh, that's why. Ricardo's like, "Whoa."
Yeah, yeah. But then I explained. All right, well, but you know, but that's her husband, and so you know, we're all a foursome, and he's like, "Oh, wow," and so yeah, it was very cool. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
But the point being, so I mean, the staff here is amazing,
Yes.
and they all, you know, like they learn your names, and it's very personalized, and they get to know you. They get to know your preferences. Now, my preferences are pretty easy.
They just
Give me a
start
beer
pouring
and-
the beer before they see you, before you even get up there.
Exactly.
They see you coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, it's. I've had the best 4 days here, and we've both talked about how relaxed
Yeah.
I am, and now I worked all day yesterday, and so I've had things, you know, blow up in my job, and so I worked all day yesterday and all morning this morning. Hopefully that's passed. I'll work a little bit tomorrow, but even with all of that and like a lot of really stressful things happening in my real world that's out there, I've been more relaxed the last 4 days than I can remember in a long time. And we have a lot of relaxing weekends at Caliente and elsewhere, but you know,
This is
something's different here.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
totally
It
different.
is.
Yeah.
Because I'm like imbued with relaxation,
Yeah.
which is really, really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And of course,
Maybe the red stripe.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Maybe copious
the,
amounts of red stripe. Maybe there's something in red stripe that
yeah,
that helps that vibe, Mon.
the endless supply of red stripe, I think, has a lot to do with
Tristan's in
it.
heaven.
And so,
He just
exactly.
walks
I just
up.
walk up, and they have it ready for me because they know.
It's just awesome.
So for those who don't know, Hedonism is an all-inclusive resort, and so
Yeah.
when you come here, everything's available, and the food's available. There are
Yeah.
4 different restaurants, a buffet.
yeah, the buffet all the
Yeah.
time. There's
All-
4
yeah.
4 restaurants because with the grill and the
Basically, it's like a stationary cruise ship.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a
Very
really
much.
good.
That's
That's
exactly what it's like.
Which I suspect a lot of the other resorts and things like
Yeah, you
like
almost
this
have to
are.
be, yeah.
We just haven't had a lot of experience
Right.
in these types of places because we don't tend to gravitate towards busy, touristy places. We're the pick the slanted beach house, banana boat, river
Right.
house, you know, or get chased off by a hurricane where you're gonna
Yep.
get
Yep.
swallowed up. That's more of our regular weekends.
Uh-huh.
So this is not normal for us. So yeah. But I wanted to explain a little bit too about, so at Hedonism they have the nude side and the prude side, but the whole place is clothing option. You can be
option. Yeah.
nude anywhere,
Right.
but if you're on the nude side, you have to be nude on the nude side, and so that's I don't know. I was gonna say I would call that the swinger side, but I don't really know that it's the swinger
I don't
side
know
because
that
the
it
whole
is.
resort probably is
Yeah.
very
It
open.
may be more of a party vibe over
I
there.
think it is
it's a
more of a
little
party vibe.
louder.
So we stayed on the prude side this time because it was more economical, and we didn't know what we were getting into. So we thought, well, let's just kind of split the difference, and we'll get an ocean view like on the prude side, and the sides are kind of split in the middle by the main dining hall, the pool, the gym, the kind of the central core of the facility, and then you have the two different sides. And we were talking about it. We have really enjoyed being on the prude side.
Yeah, I
we
have.
have really
Surprisingly.
enjoyed it. We go over to the nude side every night, and the hot tub opens. It's closed in the evening from like 7 to 11 for cleaning and maintenance and stuff, and then they open it back up at 7 at night, and the grill is open, and you get food till 5 a.m. I think over there.
It opens it back up at
11 p.m. and it stays open.
And you get food and
yep.
and until 5.
So we've been going over there in the evenings, a hot tub over there and stuff like that. But it's definitely a different vibe. But I like coming back over here because it just is a little. You're
the
like you
beach-
leave the party and come back over here to the quiet,
where it's
chill
quiet.
side. Yeah,
And I think the beach is bigger here.
I think you're right. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little more
Yeah,
spread
the
out.
focus is the pool over there.
Yeah, that's true.
Not so much the beach.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's
that
a cool pool. They have a swim up bar.
Yeah.
which
Oh, yeah,
is
I love
really
that.
Cool.
That's
you
true.
like that?
Oh yeah, because I don't have to get out.
Right?
I can just like
And again, they see him swimming up. They're like pouring
There
that
you
beer.
go.
Here you go.
all right,
Here goes
Tristan's
Tristan.
coming.
Pour 2.
Red stripe. Actually, I do ask for 2 a lot of times. So
So we got here on Saturday night. By the time we actually got here, it was later in the evening. We had a great evening Saturday night. Sunday was our first full day. What did we do on Sunday? Gosh, it's been.
Although Saturday night we went to Hedonism.
Oh, that's
yes.
right. That's right.
Yes, we did.
So yes, we went to Hedo when we got here. We did not bring. Well, Phoenix and I both have our medical marijuana cards, and so he brought a couple things from the U.S. But we didn't bring anything because we didn't want to obviously enter the country with something that you shouldn't enter the country with. So, but Hedonism has a weed dispensary on property. So we get there and we ask them something about like, what can you buy? Well, you have to have your medical marijuana card. Luckily, I happen to have mine in my wallet. The good news is if you don't have one, for $15 whole, they will get you certified for, I guess, your Jamaican medical card or whatever that looks like. They will get you approved. So
In about 15 whole seconds.
in about 15 whole seconds, like as long as it takes you to pay that $15 whole. So not a huge stumbling block if you don't have your card. But yeah, so we went to the pharmacy and stocked up, and we got a couple of joints, which it still feels like so high school and like so weird. And then a couple of vape pens, and then and then we got a chocolate mushroom bar that our friends had recommended.
A single serving size.
A single serving that was about the size. Do you remember the chunky candy bars?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
it reminds me of. Those chunky, that square. It was that square chocolate bar. Yeah, that's so weird that I would remember that chocolate. But anyways, that's what that reminded. That's what that shape, that size that it reminded me of. So yeah, so we got that. So that set us up for the rest of the week. Well, yeah, we're still working on it. We'll
Yeah.
probably end up
Yeah,
leaving
yeah.
some here. We don't end up smoking a lot, but it's been great. We've been doing a lot of other things too. So on Sunday, did we do anything on Sunday? Did we teach our first class Sunday?
We did.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Okay.
did.
So that was
Oh, that's
Sunday.
right. Yeah, that was the rope.
Beginner bedroom rope.
Yes, so that was Sunday, and we took a rope class, and we met some other
Yep.
rope people, and so that's been very fun, and our
Yeah.
rope class was a lot of fun. And anything else on Sunday? It's been the first couple of days, by the way, have been very overcast, and it actually rained for a couple hours during the day like every day except today. Today was the very
Today
first
was
day.
Right.
It was cloudy and overcast,
I don't
but
think
it was
ever
more
rained.
sunny.
Yeah.
Right.
A little bit
It
more
didn't
sunny.
rain.
Yeah,
And
which
so
was
that's-
great because
it's
so
actually been, thank goodness.
yeah, and we lived in Miami for a long time, and so we're very accustomed to from like May 15th until October 15th. It rains every day at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like really fucking hard, and then it goes away. And so we're used to that kind of tropical, weather pattern, but yeah, really it's been cloudy all day, which is unusual.
Right.
And so today really was the first day. I think that we had a nice sunny day, which is great, and we'll get there in a second for
Yeah.
the reason why.
Yeah.
But Although, well, we'll talk about our excursions, but
Yeah.
we did have sun and nice weather up. Yeah.
Yep.
So I was saying, let's talk about the excursion.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
these.
Yeah, so that's bringing me to Monday. So Monday we had to get up really early because we were doing the falls excursion, and this particular excursion, the waterfall excursion. So we didn't really know what to expect. In my mind, it's going to be this waterfall. I'm thinking I was going to be in Hawaii. I don't know. I've never been to Jamaica before. It's got mountains. It kind of looks like Hawaii, and so I'm thinking this waterfall, and there's a lagoon, and we were told we would be able to spend time swimming or doing rope work or doing whatever we want. We were also told that we could be as naked as we wanted to be. And so in my mind, that's what this falls excursion was going to be. We also were told there was a hike, but if you didn't want to do the hike, you could stay down just where the falls ended. So the hike was kind of to go up the falls or something. We weren't quite sure. And everybody was kind of like, well, every trip's a little bit different and every place is a little bit different. And nobody in the group had been to this falls. Apparently there's a couple different ones that you can go to when you're here. So we're like, okay, this all sounds good. We had no idea. So we bring huge bags of rope because we're going to do some rope work and get some pictures.
A beach bag.
Yeah, big, huge beach bag full of rope and all of our towels. And I had all these snacks and water bottles and all this good stuff. And we had our waterproof phone bags and camera bags and whatnot and all these things. So we take, and that was probably an hour bus ride also out there, up into the mountains, because you go out from the coast and you have to go inland. And so we went to Bento Falls was the falls that we went to. So we get there, and we were on there were two different buses. The bus ride in and of itself was interesting, but we were on the smaller bus, and there were some very vocal folks on the bus, and it was just interesting to have them have their time.
But it was early. We had to be on the bus at
8.
Was it 8?
We got up early because we had to eat breakfast and be on the bus at 8 a.m. When you're on vacation, who does that? We did that.
We don't. Well,
we did that. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. But anyways, so we get there, and they kept saying, you know, we're like, what do we need? What do we take with us? And we've got our clothes and our hats and our cameras and all our bags and our gear. And they're like, leave everything in the bus. And we're like, but we're going to do rope work, and we're going to, like, we can't leave the rope work stuff in the bus. And nobody was really communicating well about what was going to happen. So we schlepped down this trail down to, you know, we're obviously walking towards the bottom of the area. And so I'm looking around for the lagoon. There's no like blue lagoon. There's no there's no nothing. It's just it's this point where these three rivers come together. And so he's talking, and he's like, okay, so we're gonna go and we're gonna get in the water, and we're gonna walk up there, and there's like 11 pools. This is what there were 11 that we were supposed to go to. Yeah. We were a pretty big group. There was like 30 of us. Yeah. And so we were supposed to go and go through these different pools of the waterfall, and I still didn't really quite understand what that meant until we all got in the water, and we literally were hiking through the river.
Yep.
To get from
uphill.
To get from pool number 1 to pool number 2, you hiked up the waterfall. You didn't get out of the river and hike up a trail.
You're in the water.
You hiked up the waterfall. 11 pools.
So I think the staff pretty quickly realized there's no way in hell this is going to happen with this group of people. So we did 3 pools. We got to 3 of them. It was a really quick decision that this is no way, because we were all like, duh, what do we do now? It took like 40 minutes just to get the 30 of us in the water in the first place, because it's slippery, it's rocky, and we all didn't know what we were doing. And
all these guys are having to help us.
Every single person. It was even the big guys still needed help. I mean, you're in River Rapids. Yeah. You're walking in the rapids because the waterfalls. I mean, it was insane. And so we were all standing there, the 4 of us, and we're like, wait, what?
Oh wait, and one of the 4 of us is holding 30 pounds of rope in a beach bag.
In a beach bag, and we're like, and clearly there's no, you're gonna get sopping wet. There's at some point we're like, we're gonna have to swim
Yeah.
And like, what do we do with all of this stuff that works? So we realized very quickly this was not going to work. Ditched the beach bag, asked them to bring it, to have it up.
Take it back to the
bus.
bus.
I quickly grabbed my phone bag to put it around my neck that had my phone in it, so maybe we could get some pictures. And I think that was it, right? That was all that we took
pretty
with
much.
us.
Yeah.
Well, we took our water bottles, which was pretty stupid at the end of the day. And
Yeah, I think they ended up
and
taking those for
a
us
couple
too.
packages of candy, which also didn't work out so great at the end of
Oh
the
yeah,
day.
that's right. In your pocket, you had.
Wasn't just dissolve in the river.
Yeah. Try to have a little.
You guys
bit
had
of-
your hats. We had
Yeah,
glasses.
but those all
yeah.
made it. That all made it. Like that wasn't. Yeah.
It made it,
So-
but you still had to walk. It's
It
like
was-
the old Army commercials where the guy's walking through the river. The water's up to here. He's holding his M16 up. That was us.
Yeah, there was a water bottle and a cell phone. Everything we need to survive. He had an M16. We had a water bottle.
This guy's sans armaments.
Yes. So wow. So it was a really quick realization. So we're all standing there and we're like, all right, man, we're here. We're in it.
We're doing
it. So we start going up and climbing up the waterfall, going from the one pool to the next pool up. And then the first fall, then there's a chance you can go up the bank, and they have like it's not even stairs, it's just where the roots of the tree have formed so that you can step up the pathway up to the bank, and you can jump into the pool. And so you didn't have to, but so some people could choose to do that. So I'm watching, So I'm watching them go up, and I'm watching the first person. Here's my thing. I watch to see how much instructions they're given. So if it takes a long time to give someone instructions about how to do this thing, that means it's really dangerous because they're telling them what to do not to die. And so I'm like, how long is it going to take him to give her these instructions? And I knew the girl that he was giving the instructions to, and she's just like, she would have just jumped without even asking. So I'm like, he is really giving her a lot of instruction. And I was like, man, are there like jagged rocks down there? I'm almost equating it to like the Rick's cliff diving. Like, are we having to wait for the tide to be in the right way? It's a waterfall. It's a pool. It's a river. But in my mind, and so I'm watching, and finally she jumps in and goes, and I'm like, well, that didn't seem so bad. So the next person goes, and it's really fast now. Yeah. So by that time, 3 or 4 people had been in, and you were like,
I'm going.
Phoenix is like, I'm going. So I'm like, you know what? I can do this too. It's just jumping in the bank. And how high would you say it was?
Maybe 15 feet.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
I would say 2.
Yeah.
So 2. Yeah. So high enough.
Okay, now wait. Let's put that in perspective though, because 15 doesn't sound like a big number. That's
Are you going to go metric on us right now?
That's about 3 times the height of an average person.
Right.
So stack 3 people on their shoulders. That's where you're jumping from.
If you're jumping out of a 2nd-story window, how far is that? That's 30 feet, isn't it?
It's close. Yeah,
That's
24.
24. So a little bit less than that.
Yeah.
So, but you're standing. So I also want to say the bank that you're standing on it's not
Mud.
a beautiful platform, right? It is like it's tree roots, and and it's slippery,
muddy.
and it's wet, and it's muddy, and you have to like you wedge your foot between the one root, and you stand on the other root, similar to the next thing that we're getting ready to talk
Can I
about.
make a quick public
Sure.
service announcement here?
Yeah.
Really good water shoes are the best investment
We at
you're
least
ever
had
going to
those.
make.
We at least had
Yes.
those.
Yes, we did.
That was a godsend. Yeah. So you jumped in first.
Yeah, it was not that bad. There's the little moment of panic when you step off, and then you're in the water pretty much, which was refreshing. But we'd already climbed 2 waterfalls, so
Yeah, but this was
not much of a shock anymore.
No, but you went totally in. This was our first time total.
And I
submersion.
remember thinking, that was the first thought that went through my mind when I hit the water. I remember thinking, am I going to touch the bottom? How deep is this? I don't have a fucking clue.
Right, we never asked those important
Never asked
questions.
those questions.
I never even asked, are there rocks under there? I just figured since nobody else had rocks or had run into anything, you weren't dead. So I'm like, I guess it's okay. So I went right after you. And the thing, you're right, the thing that the jump was fun. I mean, I used to jump off high dives when I was a kid, but here's the thing that I found so interesting, because I couldn't see, because it's not a pool, it's a moving river, and I felt like it took me a long time to get up to the surface. After when I hit the water and went in,
well, you go pretty deep.
I didn't realize I would go that deep. I don't have any idea how deep it was, but it felt like it. I'm like swimming. I'm not there yet. Oh wait, still not there yet. I was like, oh, I better get up there. They're gonna worry. This is what's going through my head.
They're never going to
She's
work.
laughing at.
No,
The next
I'm-
person
no,
at
I'm
the top
not
of the tower
laughing.
is
I'm
like,
like-
get out of the way.
Yeah, then as soon as they come up, they're like, move. So the next person could go. So Phoenix and I are standing there, and we look over, and these two were like, oh my God, they're going to do it.
So no,
They're
these two
walking
get in
up.
line and we're like, okay, I can do this.
Well, actually,
I'm gonna go.
the way that it went, you're like, are you gonna do it? And I said, I don't know. Are you gonna do it? And you said,
like,
and you
I'll
said,
do it.
oh, yeah. I said, all right, I'll do it.
Like, okay, I'll do it.
All right, you sure? Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So I have no problem. I crawl. I get up that little hill, and the minute
So
I
I'm thinking,
went,
she's gonna do it.
so he's behind me. So you hike up this little hill, and then, but you can't see anything because there's a tree in the way. And so like I get up and I'm standing there, and I kind of like go around the tree, and I look down. I'm like, there is no fucking way. It looks so deep. I'm like,
And she turned to me and said, I don't think I want to do this. And I said, that's all the license I need.
because I'm like, if we bail out together, we're good. Because if he did it, I totally would have to do it.
So I am I have an incredible fear of heights.
And I'm equal to that.
So like little things like, when we go to St. Augustine, like climbing the lighthouse, it freaks me the fuck out. And sometimes I can only get halfway up. We went to the Grand Canyon. I had to go back to the bus and sit in the bus because I couldn't be near the edges, and watching them near the edges freaked me the fuck out. So
what did it for me was seeing that little bitty ledge that they wanted you to stand on.
And I was worried about like,
and I'm
what
like,
if I
am I going to
slip?
exactly? Am I going to slip and fall?
Yeah, it wasn't a ledge. It was just the muddy.
tree
It
root.
was the muddy tree root. Yeah,
All I
that's
know
all
is
it was.
I am so glad I didn't.
Yeah, and a
I'm
muddy
like,
tree root
I
is so
didn't get
reassuring
peer
for me.
pressured into doing something that I didn't want to do.
Well, you held your own. You stayed true to yourself.
I know.
So we're in the water and we're like, wow, this is awesome. They're not gonna do it. Yep, nope. Are they chickening out? No, they're not yet. Oh, yep, they're chickening out. Yeah, here they come back down.
Yeah.
And now I had to come back down the side of the bank.
Yeah, the walk is right.
Yeah.
I'm a wuss, I admit it.
So the guys had, but here's the thing: there was no way to get where we were going next. They had to get back in the water.
No, I didn't mind getting in the water.
Okay,
Right,
so,
right.
yeah, so
It was
wasn't
just
like
looking.
you could
It
just
was
keep
looking
going.
down at the height.
Yeah.
It felt so far.
Oh, I was fine
I-
slipping into the water
Yeah.
from like this far up, but like, yeah.
Well,
falling. And then I was worried about like going way deep in the water and like you trying to dig your way back
that's
out.
what I
I'm like,
said.
there's no way. I'm like,
It
that's
was-
why I was looking at you like that, because I was like, no fucking way.
That's what I was like. I had to get to the top, so you guys wouldn't be nervous to think that it took too long to get to the top.
That
Was
was
I
it. It took
underwater
forever
long?
for you. Yeah, it was forever. I was
Was
like,
it?
oh my god. where
Yeah.
is she?
See, was it really?
It does seem like a long time. Yeah.
That really
Yeah,
did. I
no,
mean,
it really
to me,
did.
it felt
It
like
really
a long time.
did.
Like, oh, I better hurry. But then, when we were done with that, they had us move off to the side while everybody else is still jumping in. And in right there in that pool is kind of like a little island with another big tree coming out of it and a rope tied to the big tree there on that same pool. And then right when we were finishing up the last person that was jumping off of the bank, one of the tour guides apparently, jumped. All of a sudden, something goes flying over my head, and it's the guy on the rope who's like jumped off that and is now doing a rope swing and jumps into the water from there. So they said, if you want to come and do the rope swing, you can do that. So we all got in line and did the rope swing.
that.
That actually,
That
I was
was
more
fun.
nervous.
That was
I was more nervous
Really?
about the rope swing because
See,
I don't have any
Yeah,
upper
that
body
didn't
strength.
bother me at all.
Yeah,
And so
had
I
no
was really
problems with that
worried
one.
that I would just.
And you know what?
like,
I don't have any upper body strength either, and I didn't realize that until
until you got on the rope
I was
swing.
like, holy f***, I don't think I can hang on anymore. And so,
So I was worried that I would push off and just splat, right? I mean, that's how little faith I have in my own upper body strength. And it's all this big tree with all these roots, and you have to swing out.
Yeah, you do.
And
Right.
so I'm
You
like,
do.
what if I fall what if I can't hold on even that 2 seconds to swing out? So I'm watching, and I have to say, the thing that did it is there was an older woman in our group.
Yeah.
And probably about 10 years older
Yep.
than we are.
Yep.
And I'm like, fucking hell, if she does it,
Yep.
I do it. And she was right in front of me. Phoenix was a couple in front of her even, so he had already gone. And I'm like, and because another person that was on the trip with me, she was like, come on, we can do it. And I'm like, you're right. You know what? I said, if she can do it, I can do it. And so I watched her, and she did it. And so I get up there and I tell the guy, I'm really nervous for some reason, and my leg was shaking.
Oh.
Not even on the jumping off the bank was it, but on this tree.
Oh, mine was
thing.
shaking up there.
No,
Oh.
but that was really, it wasn't bad. And I was able to push myself out and held on for a really long
You
time. As a
did.
matter
No,
of fact,
you did
he's
really-
screaming, let
yeah.
go. I'm like, I was waiting till I kind of hit that apex, and you don't really feel, I thought I would really feel it shift and then I would come back, but it just kind of is this round thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so he was just like, let go. But that was really
That was
cool
fun.
too.
That was a lot
And
of
we all
fun.
did that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I did it too.
Yeah, that was really neat. So then we walked up the net. You had to battle through the next set of falls,
Yeah.
and then we came to another pool, and there was a cave. And that's where they did the soap, the limestone mud
Right.
clay. They
did
you
a
know, it was
massage.
a thing that they could kind of for a tip, later on. But they rubbed clay on us and limestone and gave you a little skin exfoliation and stuff. So we hung out for a while, and people were getting back in the water, and that's where we had the cave.
Yeah, I
Because
did,
then we washed all that off, and then there was a big rock that was part of the falls, and the water came down of the rock, so you can kind of push yourself up against it and
yeah,
be
so,
underneath
yeah,
all that
yeah.
water. It was really cool. But the water was so strong. The guy,
Yeah,
he was helping me get the clay off my body.
Mm-hmm.
He's pushing me and holding me practically like this under.
That was an interesting
It was
experience.
really
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah.
Water is
because you've got
so
all this
powerful.
water. Yeah, it was amazing.
It
amazing.
was just
Oh, good
insane.
though, yeah.
And so we didn't go in the cave because that it seemed like you did have to go under, and everybody was like, it's fine, and I would have been fine doing that, but it was just I didn't know if I wanted to go totally under and have to deal
I
with
was
it. There's
actually
a lot of current.
Was that the point we were a little cold?
Oh, it was.
Yes,
Yeah, we
the
were
sun
really
had
cold
gone
at that
in.
point.
Yes, the sun
Yeah.
had gone in at that point in time.
Yeah.
But then you have to climb that big rock that you were standing under to get up to the next level, to the next pool. And I think, was that the end by the time we actually got
Pretty
to the
close.
next
Yeah.
one? Yeah. So
that was when they had little steps on the rock.
Yeah, the rock
Yeah.
had these. Yeah, I don't know if they were natural.
Oh,
they
and
had
and that's
them
where
carved
we stopped, and we had the four of us take a picture.
in. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we continued again to another one,
Yeah.
and that was the last one.
That was the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did some other things there, and some other people. I wish. See, again, we didn't know.
We had no idea.
So we didn't know that we would have been able to do something then and there. Some people, like there was somebody who had her mermaid tail, so she quick put on her mermaid tail and posed for a picture. We could have probably done some rope work and done something, but had we known and been prepared and know what we were doing, but
Right.
they herded us out of there, and then we stood around for an hour
Right.
while we got drinks and people went to the bathroom and we got our clothes changed and all this stuff, and so we totally could have done things like that, but it was such an amazing experience. It was so fun. It was so amazing. We all said that we were really glad we didn't know what it was. Because
Yeah.
I think if somebody said, yes, you walk through these river rapids and fight the water,
Yeah.
and you have to climb the rocks, I would have said, yeah, I'm not good at climbing
gonna
rocks,
sleep
and
in.
I'll
Yeah.
tweak my knee.
Yeah, it was at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, but so we would have found a million excuses not to do it, but we were very
We're all very glad that we did.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So so that was Monday. That was our big
That was Monday.
excursion on Monday.
Yep.
And then it's just kind of doing whatever. But the other excursion that we want to talk about was today that we went
Yeah,
on.
that was amazing.
So what was
That was
today's
incredible.
excursion?
Yeah, today we had
catamaran
the
ride.
catamaran, and
Sunset, yeah,
Yes.
sunset.
Yes.
so we left at what 3?
3.
Yeah, and we went. Well, first of all, so it was. I mean, everything here is clothing optional, and as everybody knows, my option is typically not to wear clothes. Although I have to say, I've been more clothed in the last 4 days than like any day at Caliente, or for
That's
example.
true.
I mean, so
Well, you dressed to eat.
yeah, you have to wear clothes to go into the dining area.
Yeah.
And I tend to spend a lot of time in the dining area apparently, so I at least have a towel on.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this catamaran trip was clothing optional, and so I wound up naked pretty quickly. But the first stop on this was at a reef to snorkel, and I've done like a lot of things in my life naked, but I've never like snorkeled naked, and it was awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
That was
so
awesome.
we're snorkeling. I'm looking at these beautiful tropical fish, and I'm naked, and I'm thinking, I hope nothing, I'm like feeling, I don't want to feel any nibbles down there, but
Don't want to lose the bait.
precisely. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I had seen some stingrays. I was like, oh my God, what if they get near my pussy or something?
They were pretty far down there.
Yeah. But it wasn't
really
deep.
cool. It was beautiful.
What, like 15,
It was
20
gorgeous. The
feet
fish
maybe.
were
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah. You could have, if you. Well, then they made us wear life jackets.
Well, yeah, I saw you, and I was doing the same thing, trying to hold.
Yeah,
hold
it was
back,
tough.
'cause
It was really tough. It was tough to snorkel with them if we could use them as floaties. But they made us wear them. It was totally fine. But one of the other people on the trip with us of our group, she's like, I'm gonna snorkel down. She's like, I'm gonna dive down, and I'll be right back. She's telling her partner. And I'm thinking, how are you going to dive? So as I'm thinking, how are you going to dive down? You're wearing a life jacket.
Mm-hmm.
She goes diving down and she pops right back up. She weighs like 90 pounds, soaking wet. She pops right back out and she's like, oh yeah. And her friend goes, you have a life vest on, you know that, right? And she's like, yeah, I forgot that I wasn't going to be able to do that. She was going to snorkel down, but you could have.
Oh, yeah. Some people did. Some people
took
them
their,
off.
yeah, they weren't supposed to, but I think she was probably one that probably ended up doing it. But anyway, so that was beautiful and awesome.
It was great.
Yeah,
It
we
was great.
snorkeled. And then one of the other, they either will normally go either to Rick's Cafe, which is kind of that world famous cafe in Jamaica. I think even like one of the Elvis Presley movies was filmed there, but that's where they jump off the side of the cliff into the water. I think they do the Red Bull cliff diving exhibitions and stuff there. So that's either one stop, and the cliffs, the restaurant is high up on the cliff and things like that. But then there's also these caves. And so apparently on the catamaran tours, you either go to Rick's or you go to the caves. You can't do both. There's not enough time. So I guess with the tides and the weather and the things, we weren't able to do the caves today on this trip. So we ended up going to Rick's instead. And that's what somebody had said, that they couldn't do the caves today. So so we went to Rick's, and I would say the majority of our people got off the boat. They water taxied over to Rick's. Had their drinks or do whatever, and we were like, why we don't we've been very not drinky, except for Tristan with all his red stripe. The rest of us maybe 2 drinks a night. I mean,
Not even.
I'm on my diet thing, and it's not feeling good to drink a lot, and you don't want to. I personally don't want to drink. So we're like, why would we go over there to go stand in a bar to order a drink that we really don't want anyways? Why don't we just relax on the catamaran? I'm so glad that we did.
I am.
Yeah, it was
we needed that.
It
'cause
was beautiful and quiet, and
we got to do some rope
we
work.
finally got to do
photography.
yes, we did some rope
Hang
work.
out, talk to a few other people. It was a really good time.
It was
And great pictures of the sunset
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, it was a beautiful sunset.
It was-
Actually, I think this was the first sunset that we saw, because I think the prior 3 nights
It's been
it
raining.
was
It
overcast
has
or raining.
been, yeah. We've seen. Eventually, we'll see some of the purple and the pinks of the sky. But yeah, this is the first sunset that we could actually see. So, yeah. So it was amazing. It was amazing. So we wanted to. That was really kind of it for today. And then we raced here, ate some dinner, and did the podcast, and here we are. So. But we really wanted to kind of just fill you in, and we really wanted to record live from Hedo. So our week is not over yet, but we wanted to make sure that we were able to be on site. I don't know if you can hear, there's the thump, thump, thump of the music from the club in the background. We've got the ocean waves on this side. We hear part of our group talking back there in the corner, and you hear the bugs and the birds and the crickets and the things, and it's just
And the waves.
as I'm saying, the waves, and we can see the lights in the distance from 7 Mile Beach with all the different hotels and resorts, and it's just beautiful, and it's so relaxing and amazing. And so we wanted to share this with you all in this environment where we're here.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I mean, I have, notwithstanding, a relatively hectic week work-wise so far, and by the way, the Wi-Fi worked great. And I was able to connect right up to to my company server, but I've been so much more relaxed here the last couple of days, and I hope that you all can see it, because you know me when I'm not relaxed.
Yeah.
Yesterday was touch and go, but yeah, it's been wonderful, and I think so. I was thinking, like, the very first cruise that you and I ever went on in 2018. We hadn't even left the mouth of Tampa Bay yet, and I said, I want to live on a cruise ship.
Yeah, that's
well, let me
true.
tell you what, I want to live at Hedo.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love it.
Yeah. So, So again, we just wanted to share this with you and have you be part of our trip too and experience some of it. We hope that you'll join us maybe for Swingcation in December if you want to try Hedo, if you want to enjoy it with us. We will be here in December, so we hope that you join us. And stay tuned for future episodes, and we'll probably recap this one a little bit more in the next episode.
I'm sure we will.
But yeah, and then next time you hear from us will be next time we do one of these episodes, it'll be after Naughty in New Orleans.
Yep.
So wow.
Wow.
Yeah, busy month of
What a
June
month,
for us in
yes.
2024. So that's it for us. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So goodbye from Jamaica, Mon.
Bye.
Bye, Mon.